This case has shaken the Egyptian public, not only because the victim was a child, but also due to the brutality of the crime details. The girl in that picture is named Zena, and she was the most beautiful girl in Bursaid Governorate in Egypt. There is no one hasn't heard her story, because there is no Egyptian media platform that hasn't covered it. In 2013, Zena, who was 5 years old at that time, lived with her family in Egypt. Her family was very loved by all their friends and neighbors because they were very kind people who treated everyone very well. However, sometimes such kindness can be misplaced. Zena was very special to everyone in her family because she was beautiful, social despite her young age, and very friendly. Everyone loved talking to her, and she loved everyone. Until the hardest day came for her, her family, all Egyptians, and everyone knew her story. At 9 p.m., a private tutor came to Zena's family's house to teach her older brother a private lesson. When the tutor arrived, Zena left her brother, with whom she was playing, and asked her mother if she could go out to play for a while in front of their apartment door with the neighbors' kids. The apartment door was left open because the building was supposed to be secure and safe. After a while, about half an hour, Zena's mother was surprised when the neighbors' children knocked on Zena's apartment door, asking for Zena, and informing her mother that she left their apartment because she needed to use the bathroom. So Zena told them that she would return to her family's apartment. When her mother learned of this, she hurriedly searched for Zena, who had disappeared and had no presence in their apartment. The mother was filled with panic, leading her to search for Zena and ask about her in all the other residents' apartments in the building. Considering the possibility that Zena might have gone to any of the neighbors' apartments to say hello to them, as she usually did. However, in the end, the mother found no trace of Zena at all in the building. As a result, the mother's voice grew louder as she searched for Zena until she reached the ground floor, where the neighbors gathered to search for the girl with her mother. At this point, Alaa arrived, and we need to know who was Alaa. Alaa was a 17-year-old young man at that time, and he worked with his uncle as the guard of the residential building, assisting him with his duties. All the neighbors noticed Alaa's confusion as he helped them search for Zena, but they imagined that the confusion was just general because of Zena's disappearance, as Zena often interacted with Alaa and talked to him. One of the neighbors mentioned hearing a strange noise in the building's basement, a very loud noise, which made the neighbors suspect that Zena might have fallen from one of her family's apartment windows. However, when they went to the apartment and opened the windows, they were surprised to find iron bars on all the windows. So, the possibility of her falling from one of the windows was completely ruled out in their minds. After that, another neighbor confirmed the first neighbor's statement, hearing a loud sound in the basement. So, they went up to the roof of the building to take a look. But because it was 9:30 p.m., they couldn't see anything in the basement of the building. Their neighbor Mahmoud appeared, who lived in one of the building's apartments. Mahmoud was also 17 years old at the time and was disliked by all the neighbors of the building because of his bad manners and criminal behaviors, which all indicated his criminality. And all the neighbors agreed that he had received no ethics. Mahmoud was standing with Zena's mother among the residents searching for Zena, and he showed fear for her, telling her mother that there was a possibility that someone had kidnapped Zena and that it was best for her to go to the police station to file a kidnapping report. After that, Mahmoud's mother appeared and confirmed that she had glimpsed two strangers on the building stairs an hour before Zena's disappearance, and that there was a possibility that they were behind the girl's disappearance. Alaa then suggested opening the basement's door and searching for Zena inside, and indeed, this is what the neighbors did. When they entered the basement, they were shocked to see Zena lying on the floor unconscious. So all the residents with Zena's mother headed to the hospital in an attempt to save her. At the same time, Alaa and Mahmoud were with them at the hospital. but in reality, they were not at the hospital to check on Zeina's well-being, but instead to ensure that she had died. After Zeina was admitted to the hospital, the medical team tried every possible way to help her and save her life, but unfortunately, it was too late and Zeina died. Her death wasn't just a shock to her family and the residents of the building, but instead to everyone who heard her story throughout the Middle East. Zeina's case became a matter of public concern, and there was hardly anyone who didn't sympathize with her. Police and the criminal lab began working, and all the suspicions were directed towards Mahmoud because all the neighbors spoke about him and his bad behaviors. So, Mahmoud was summoned to the police station, and the interrogation started. And as soon as the interrogation began, he immediately confessed to killing Zeina. However, he wasn't alone in committing that heinous crime. He was with Alaa, who was favored and trusted by every member of Zeina's family, including Zeina, who treated him well. The investigations began, and it was revealed in the forensic report that they were having sex together. In their confessions, they planned for everything that happened on that day. Mahmoud had agreed with Alaa to sexually assault Zeina after kidnapping her and taking her to the room on the rooftop of the building. On that day, they took advantage of Zeina's presence outside her apartment alone, and Alaa spoke to her, and because Zeina trusted him, she agreed to go up with him to the rooftop to play together as he told her. When they reached the rooftop, Alaa and Mahmoud immobilized her and took her to their private room on the building's rooftop, where they attempted to assault her, as they had planned, but they completely failed. Upon hearing her mother's voice in the building as she searched for Zeina along with the other residents, they feared that Zeina would expose them and say that they were trying to do something to her. So, they decided to get rid of her and kill her. That's why they threw her from the rooftop to the basement, and she fell to her death. What further confirmed their guilt was that one of their friends happened to visit them at the same time they committed the crime. He found them on the rooftop very nervous, and when he asked them why they were on the rooftop despite the residents searching for Zeina, Alaa asked him to remain silent and not to tell anyone about their presence on the rooftop at all. This case became a public opinion issue due to the Egyptian media coverage. As a result, residents of Bursaid staged protests everywhere, demanding the execution of the perpetrators. However, due to both offenders being only 17 years old, the court issued a verdict of 15 years of imprisonment with hard labor. Nevertheless, before pronouncing the verdict, the judge remarked that if not for the law, he would have sentenced them to death immediately for their despicable actions. It's worth mentioning that Mahmoud's father disowned his son before God and in front of all the Egyptian people, and he also called for the execution of his son. Truly, Zeina's image will remain engraved in the hearts of all Egyptians. And as usual, see you in the next video. Adios.